Welcome back to the Right Way Sports Network YouTube channel. I'm your host, Aidan Maher. And in today's video, I want to talk some Aaron Rodgers in fantasy football and why this is a player I'm actually fading in seasonal drafts this upcoming season, which is a statement that's going to surprise a lot of people because of the sustained success in terms of fantasy production throughout Aaron Rodgers' career. But before I get into all of that, I want to make sure you guys go subscribe to our TWSN Patreon page. The link is in the description. We are making people a ton of money over there. Our betting team just does a fantastic job. They put in the research, they put in the work, and it shows in their hit rates. Their hit rates are fantastic. It's a positive investment for all involved. You want to go make some money, go good into the action. Again, the link is in the description. But the first stat I want to mention for Aaron Rodgers here is pace of play, because the Packers were last in pace of play in the entire NFL last season. And this is a trend that's continued throughout these past few years, even going back to the 2 years before that, where the Packers were towards the bottom of the league in pace of play. And this is totally by design. Rodgers loves to milk the play clock down to its final seconds. It forces the defense to show its hand pre-snap. So there's no tricks. Aaron Rodgers kind of eliminates a lot of those pre-snap disguises by doing so. And it obviously works for this Packers offense, but from a fantasy perspective, we don't love that. It automatically is kind of trimming off some potential volume because you look at the offense like the Chargers, they move at the exact opposite pace. They were the fastest paced offense in the NFL last season. And when you're moving at a faster pace, you're running more plays, which leads to more passing attempts, more volume, and more volume is more fantasy points. You get the point. Another stat, 27.6% target share, which is what Davante Adams had since 2019 with this Green Bay Packers team. Arguably the best receiver in the league still. He was the clear wide receiver one in Green Bay. Fantastic rapport with Aaron Rodgers, and he is no longer there. And the Packers really did nothing to replace him. They added Christian Watson in the second round of the NFL draft, but I'm not a huge fan of Watson as a prospect. I think in year one, he fills the MVS role, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Okay, so you replace Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Did you do anything for Davante Adams? Not really. They didn't. They added Sammy Watkins in free agency, two day three receivers in Romeo Doubs and Samori Toure. It just wasn't a lot. And this projects to be one of the worst receiving cores in the NFL next season. I mean, really just headed by Aaron Jones, Allen Lazard. Like, those are the guys that are going to be leading this team in targets. It's ugly. But not only that, let's talk about the lack of rushing production from Rodgers. Every single year over the past few years, we've seen his rushing points per game and his overall rushing volume just continue to go down. As Rodgers gets older, he's just staying in the pocket more. He's not as inclined to run. He's not as mobile as he used to be. It's to the point where his rushing really is kind of like a non-factor almost at this point. I'm not going to call him a statue. He's still got a little mobility, but it really isn't a difference maker anymore. If it really ever was, but it really is not a difference maker at this point of Aaron Rodgers' career. So you're trying to overcome a slow pace of play, a bad receiving core, a lack of rushing volume, and a lack of shootout scripts. We love these teams in the AFC with poor defenses because their team's going to give up a lot of points because they're playing good defenses and they're playing good offenses and they have bad defenses. It forces their offense to just throw, and try to score 30 points per game to win. That's not the case with the Packers. Their defense was rock solid last year, 10th best in the NFL, when it came to opposing points per game. And their defense really just got better. Across the board, they look fantastic this season. They're in the NFC North. Really not going to be a lot of high-powered offenses they're going up against compared to the rest of the NFL. It's just going to be a lack of shootout scripts. It's not going to force the Packers to necessarily throw the ball a bunch. It's going to lead to a lot of run plays, maybe more than a lot of people project for the Packers. So yeah, Aaron Rodgers, was 12th in the NFL in passing attempts last season at 531. I would not be shocked if that number creeps more down to like the 15th mark in the NFL, which is fine. It's not bad, but it's not great either. Aaron Rodgers was QB6 last year, and I think it's going to be tough for him to repeat that. Obviously, with all these factors, there's a huge emphasis on efficiency for Aaron Rodgers to be successful, which is fine. He even with the bad receiving core, he will be efficient, but he's not going to be as efficient necessarily as he was last year. Looking at touchdown percentage, which takes the amount of your pass attempts that end up being touchdowns, Aaron Rodgers was first in the NFL last year at 7%. So 7% of his passing attempts went for TDs, which is a high number. And in 2020, that number was actually at 9.1% for Aaron Rodgers, which is outstanding. That is an insane mark to hit. Now, this number has always been high for Aaron Rodgers because, again, he's efficient. He's damn good at what he does. But to hit first in the NFL in TD percentage and over 7% 3 years in a row, that is very unlikely. So playing the law of averages and the loss of Davante Adams, which is just going to naturally make it tougher to be efficient, that number is going to knock down to, at best, maybe 6.5%. I wouldn't even be shocked if it dips down into somewhere in the 5% range for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that's happened before. Even the 2 seasons prior to 2020, which was 2019, 2018, both of those years, Aaron Rodgers had a sub 5% TD percentage. So it's not impossible. But I think it'll probably be somewhere maybe in the 5s range, honestly. It's tough to predict, but all I know is that he's due for a dip in touchdown efficiency. So we factor all these things in, right? And Aaron Rodgers, I took a look at this. So Fantasy Pros does this thing where they take all of the major mock draft machines themselves. They take Yahoo, Sleeper, you name it. And they find an overall ADP. Where's the average draft position out of all these mock draft sites? And I found that with Aaron Rodgers, he goes around QB9, QB10. And that is, trying to find the overall, 73rd overall in 1 QB leagues. Okay? Now, there are 2 other quarterbacks that I think I tier together with Aaron Rodgers for 2022. And those quarterbacks are Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr. I think both of these guys have very similar ranges of outcomes to Rodgers, and I project them to finish very similarly to Rodgers in 2022. As a matter of fact, I think Kirk Cousins is going to be a little better this upcoming season. Yet when we look at cost, again, Aaron Rodgers is going 73rd overall in 1 QB leagues, and Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins are going at the 106 overall slot and the 108 overall slot, multiple rounds later than Aaron Rodgers is. And again, as I said, at least for me, and I think for a lot of other people too, we're projecting these 3 guys to finish in a very similar range. So why pay up for Aaron Rodgers when you can get basically the same production, potentially even a little better, also potentially even a little worse, multiple rounds later? Even if Derek Carr finishes with 20 less fantasy points than Aaron Rodgers, I'll take that 3 rounds later. You know, I'd rather get the 20 less fantasy points per game, but pay, 3 rounds less in terms of ADP, if that makes any sense. I don't see it, though. Again, I don't see why the cost is so high, and I think this is going to remain even when we get into August. Because right now, these are the diehards that are drafting. You're months in advance. These are people that are doing their research. They love fantasy football. When August comes around, you're going to see more people coming in who don't really do as much research, and they're going to see Aaron Rodgers' name, and they're going to continue to push that ADP far away from Kirk Cousins to Derek Carr, which, again, just makes no sense to me. So Aaron Rodgers is going to be good, as he always is. He's been a top 9 quarterback in all 11 full seasons he played, which I'm not sure is going to continue in 2022. But I do know he will finish better than QB 14 because a couple guys ahead of him will probably get hurt, and he'll end up finishing a couple spots higher. But I can't project injury, so right now he's at QB 14 for me, despite being priced as like the QB 9 or the QB 10. So he'll be good. He'll, no doubt about it, Aaron Rodgers will be good as he always is, but I don't want to pay up at that cost. I don't think that's a positive return on investment. So I'm staying away from Aaron Rodgers until the ADP corrects itself, which I'm afraid it won't. Again, that's going to do it for me in today's video. Go hit that subscribe button to stay in tune with all our content. We have live shows daily. I'm going to have more fantasy football content just like this coming out as we get closer and closer to those redraft leagues starting back up, probably in late July, sometime in August. I can't wait for that time of year. But until then, I'll see you guys next time.